skedaddle up out of here. We're gonna move on to the next topic. Let us know who y'all think won the trade. Do y'all think it's a win-win? Do y'all think this is a super team with the Clippers? LA, let me know in the comments. We'll definitely talk about it. Anyway, salute to my guy Kenny as well. Let's move on to the next topic in the NFL. Before we get back into boxing, we actually going to go to boxing after halftime. But last night, Davante Adams, on his frustration after a one-catch game and a loss, said, "I truly don't know what to say. Is it time for the Raiders to bench Jimmy G?" And whoever wanna, I think Cuzzo, you can start because
Yeah, I'll
they
start
started.
though. Is it time for the Raiders to bench Jimmy G? It might be time for the Raiders to get rid of Josh McDaniels. All right, we might want to start there. So I don't really blame Jimmy G, although he's playing bad. But I look at Josh McDaniels as a guy who had a coach. I think he had a head coaching job at Denver, horrible. Head coaching job right now with the Raiders, horrible. Okay, clearly he's just not a leader of men. And these organizations keep giving him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. He was with Tom Brady. Okay, that's it. Tom Brady made a lot of people look great. You understand what I'm saying? And they keep giving this dude this credit because he played, rather, I think he was the offensive coordinator with Tom Brady for years, and they won championships, and he keep giving an opportunity. What happened to Eric Bieniemy? He won some championships in Kansas City. He got to go to another organization to try to figure out if he's a good offensive coordinator or a good candidate for head coach or not. This is ridiculous. So Josh Daniels, in my eye, is the number one person. You can do a lot of things with Davante Adams. You can put him in a lot of different situations. You can give him the ball in a lot of different ways. Their offense do not look complex at all. It don't look dynamic at all. It's so basic. It's easy to defend. And that's Josh McDaniels. That's his expertise. So we want to bench Jimmy G. Clay, go ahead and do that. But the first thing you should be doing is firing that guy. Okay, that guy needs to leave the organization immediately. Okay, because clearly Jimmy G didn't look this bad when he was on San Fran. Okay, clearly Jimmy G was winning games when he was on San Fran. So maybe it's the organization, maybe it's the head coach. Clearly Jimmy G can play football. Okay, now a couple of those throws last night I cannot defend. I mean, the dude was wide open. You're missing this dude by 15 yards. It was horrible. Don't get me wrong. It was bad. But Davante Adams getting one catch in any football game have a lot to do, not just with the quarterback, had a lot to do with play calling and head coaching. So before Jimmy G, I go at Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Cuzzo, in the sense that no. Hold up. I kind of agree with Cuzzo, right? But I'm gonna answer the question first because I don't wanna get sidetracked here. I do agree with a lot of his sentiments. But I do think it's time for the Raiders to bench Jimmy Garoppolo because they're going to get him killed out there.
Okay.
They are. I mean, the guy got sacked 6 times last night. He got sacked 7 times against the Chargers. My guy's a walking injury anyway.
Clear.
So they keep getting him hit and sacked. Like, come on. You're going to get the guy killed. You're going to get him in a nursing home. They need to bench him for those reasons. I do agree because I'm not going to blame Jimmy G totally. Like, he got to play better. But we all know he's a game manager.
Right.
And when you have a game manager, you need a great team around the game manager. That's why he was winning games when he was on the 49ers, because they had a great team and he was a game manager. So, yes, we looked at his resume. He's a winner. No, he's not. He's a game manager who knows how to babysit talented players, okay? And clearly he came to this situation. The offensive line stinks. He's getting hit every play. Of course, he's not going to be in rhythm. Now, like I said, there's no excuses for some of the throws he missed.
Yeah.
There was one play with Davante Adams hit a guy with a double move.
Yeah.
Guy was in a different area code. He was wide open, and Jimmy Garoppolo missed that throw. Well, guess what? I'm actually impressed with Jimmy Garoppolo there because I thought that would have been an underthrow, not an overthrow. He's not known for throwing the ball deep like that. He doesn't have the strongest arm. Well, I remember back when he was on the 49ers and it was Deebo Samuel running a real route, and it was twice they ran the same exact play. The first time, Jimmy G didn't even look his way. The second time, he underthrew that ball. He was wide open both times. So he's not known for getting the ball out deep. That's why it wasn't a good fit to begin with when you talk about the offensive line and the fact that you have this dynamic, arguably still a top 2 to 3 wide receiver in the league of Davante Adams, right? They need to bench Jimmy G because they need to keep him alive, okay? You can't have him getting hurt, and end his season. I think they should trade Davante Adams on top of that. I really do. But it's going to be hard. The clock is ticking at the time we recording this.
Yeah.
It's the deadline. And I think they need to move forward, play the young quarterback. I think it's Aiden Nakano. See what you got there. But yeah, they should bench Jimmy G, not only because Jimmy G is bad, but because he's getting sacked. And one more point, Zay, before you get in here.
Mhm.
I find it very ironic when you look at some of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL thus far. Ironically, they are the worst quarterbacks in the league right now. Sam Howell, 41 sacks, leading the league in sacks, right? You see the Washington Commanders, they're losing games. Daniel Jones, 28 sacks. He even played the last 2 to 3 games. Okay? Russell Wilson, 26 sacks. Desmond Ridder, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and now Jimmy Garoppolo. See the correlation there? Protect your quarterback. Bench the guy.
Yeah, I think that both of y'all made very interesting points and important points to talk about when we were talking about this Las Vegas Raiders team, a team that was supposed to be dynamic. We're in Vegas, they're supposed to be everything, and it's been the worst part of Vegas, which is losing your money, all facets. So I think benching Jimmy G is what the organization should do, because you don't, like I said, you don't want to hurt this guy. This is the worst offensive line he's ever played in front of. He has a lot of talent, running back, receivers. He has everything else, but the offensive line cannot protect him. And It's important for Jimmy G because he holds the ball for a very long time to find those receivers to then make his decision. His progressions are not as quick as it once was in San Fran or New England Patriots, and now in Oakland. Vegas. You're seeing an issue in terms of his confidence. He's not confident throwing that football, and that's why you're seeing a lot of overthrows, missing open guys, getting sacked 6, 7, 8 times. It's important to bench him to see what you have in the rookies. He is an injury-prone quarterback on great teams. So on bad teams, you can only imagine what's going to happen to his health. And it doesn't make any sense. You have to get McDaniels out of there as soon as possible. Unfortunately, this is the second head coach dud that this team has had. They probably would have been better off with the interim head coach that they had before. I forgot his name, but he did a way better job than this.
Oh, Rich Pisaccia.
I believe that's the name. Yeah, that's correct. And it's crazy because we're talking about Davante Adams. We're not even talking about a guy like Max Crosby. We're not even talking about Josh Jacobs, guys who've been on that team for a very long time, who are sick of losing. And these guys are like the ones that have been the most vocal on top of Davante Adams. Talking about they want to get out of there. They don't want to be in Las Vegas anymore. It's just a very toxic environment of just ineptitude from top to bottom, and it doesn't make any sense. And I don't know what the Raiders organization is planning to do this trade deadline, this offseason, but guys are wanting out of there, and you probably have to move them before things get really, really bad, and they start being really vocal about it and diminishes their trade value in itself. So I think the Raiders are in a bind right now to figure out how can they move all these guys and get the most out of them, or they're going to keep them and try to get the best coach available to get these guys on their side.
I got to take question real quickly, right? Because going back to the Jimmy Garoppolo before I asked the question that I want to ask about Davante Adams. Yes, we know Jimmy Garoppolo, or we should know that, when you look at my quarterback rankings, I had him relatively low. I had him like 21. Like, I don't think he's higher than that. Like, I don't think he's a top 15 quarterback. He's a game manager. We know that. But although he looked bad yesterday from like the eye test and looking at stats, there were opportunities for substantial plays. For example, he threw a pass that was a little bit behind. I get it. Behind Adams. Then it was a slant route. I may be wrong.
I got it. I know what you're
And
talking about.
Adams dropped it. There was another play with Hunter Renfrow where he slipped and it affected him catching the ball. He's not really a great guy as far as press coverage when you're pressing him, right? So there's other issues with the team. Josh Jacobs, when they ran the football and he had that touchdown drive, that's because they was running the football. They need to commit to that. I think Davante Adams is putting too much pressure with his, crying out loud to Jimmy Garoppolo. You have an unhappy receiver who, when they were winning games because they won last week, he was complaining about targets. Everybody feels sorry for the guy. I get it. But he's complaining about targets in a win. And now you're pressuring Jimmy Garoppolo even more. It's bad enough Davante Adams didn't want Jimmy G there to begin with. And when he's, I need the ball. Okay, yeah. Now I saw it last night. He was trying to force feed Davante Adams. He threw one interception where he didn't see the safety or whatever, and he tried to force it to Davante Adams up the sideline and got intercepted. There's a lot of things going on beyond Jimmy G right now. But my question that I do have for y'all is, should we feel sorry for Davante Adams? Because I think he willingly walked into that situation. Yeah, I get it. Derek Carr was there, and that's your hometown team or the team you looked up to, but you willingly came here. Josh Jacobs is locked up. They won't let him out. Okay, I'm locked up. They can't let me out. He want to get up out of there, but you went here. You chose to go here. You got your money here. The Packers offered you more money. You had Aaron Rodgers. Should we really feel sorry for Davante Adams? Do y'all feel sorry for Davante Adams?
I'm gonna be on me. I do feel sorry for him because we're talking about a dude with the potential talent of a Hall of Fame wide receiver that's being wasted at this point. And I know you said, yeah, he asked to go there, but when he did go there, the year before that, the Raiders went to the playoffs and almost beat Cincinnati, who eventually went to the Super Bowl that year. So he looked at a team that, man, if I'm on that team, maybe we can get over that hump. And that's how you should feel when you're a superstar player. So he probably felt that way. Like, yeah, I'm going to get on that team and we're going to take the next step. Clearly that didn't happen, and clearly we know what happened. Like you said, Zay, they should have kept the interim head coach, because when you bring in a bad leader of men, Josh McDaniel, when you bring in a bad leader of men, things start happening like this. Okay? It's okay to be a coordinator, but there's the difference. You could be a great coordinator. That don't mean you're a leader of men. That don't mean you will be deserving to be a head coach. Stick to what you know. You need to be a coordinator, bro. That's it. You maxed out as a coordinator. You're not a head coach. And it's clear as day. They went from a team, like I said, that made the playoffs, that was competitive in that playoff game, to the laughingstock of the NFL. Head coach. Fire him.
I don't really feel bad about Davante Adams, because that move primarily to Vegas was because of the money. He was again in Green Bay. The Green Bay was really taking their time deciding if they wanted to pay Davante Adams or not. And then when they said they wanted to, Davante Adams was like, it's too late. I want to get out of here already, because you're not treating me like the star that I am. So him going to Vegas was a multitude of things. One, need to know about Aaron Rodgers retiring or not. Two, he wasn't getting his money in a timely fashion. And three, Derek Carr was in Las Vegas Raiders. But I think if he had that guarantee that Rodgers was going to continue playing football, he had that guarantee that he would stay in Green Bay, I think he would have stood in Green Bay as well, because he enjoyed playing with Rodgers. He didn't enjoy the organization treating him like some sidekick, like some regular receiver. Like he was just some guy they drafted 6th or 7th in the draft, and they could just keep him around for as long as possible for the low. He wanted to get paid like a star in the league. The Raiders were willing to do so. They threw the money at him. They threw the bag at him. But he wanted to win, and that's the big thing. He came to the Raiders expecting to win. You come to Vegas with, I know when the owner, I think it's Mark Davis, the owner, when he's talking all these aspirations, he's talking about big money. We're going to make Vegas a winner. We're going to make Vegas this, that, and the third. And then you look like this. Another head coach that duds here, more quarterback ineptitude after Derek Carr. It doesn't make any sense. He's frustrated at his situation. Now, again, I'm not feeling sorry for him. I understand his frustrations. I don't feel sorry for him, because every action you make has a consequence. And unfortunately, you chose the money, and now you have to face the consequences of losing a little bit for a couple, probably a year or two, or however long you stay in Las Vegas until you demand a trade.
I mean, look, I agree with Zay. For the most part, I think when he left Aaron Rodgers, he was leaving. You got to realize, compare the quarterbacks here, right before Jimmy Garoppolo got there. Say what you want about Aaron Rodgers and him not showing up in big games, but you're leaving Aaron Rodgers, who won back-to-back MVPs, to go play with Derek Carr. Okay? Think about the difference there in quarterback play. So, yeah, I would love to see arguably one of the best wide receivers in the league, being able to showcase that talent on a game-to-game basis. But at the same time, every action you do has a consequence. And not only was it about the money, I think he wanted a change of scenery. Sometimes you get bored doing the same thing over and over again, And he wanted that change. I get it. But sometimes grass ain't greener on the other side, and sometimes grass is black on the other side. No pun intended. And that's what happened. So that's my take on Davante Adams.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.